Hey guys, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark, and we are going to be watching They Ate Their Own Mother, the disturbing story of the Amil brothers, I'm guessing. And this is obviously by Dark Asia with Megan. So obviously last time we did more Chinaverse stuff. It was the guy who got sent to jail for 13 years, question mark, for, I guess, assault, essentially, I think is what we would take from that. uh, Essentially burning sun levels of things, but we're moving on to Dark Asia today because obviously we take like a semi break in between the Rotten Mango slash Stephanie stuff with doing something shorter or different. And this one's pretty short. I think she's going to talk about here at the beginning stories that I'm not familiar with because I haven't watched them yet because I've seen like the first couple seconds of this. So don't know what she's referring to at the beginning of this, but we'll possibly see in a second.
We have previously talked about families who went to terrifying lengths to rid themselves of so-called curses, like the parents who tried to gouge out their daughter's eyes, convinced it was the only way to save her.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't think we've seen that story. Maybe I'll have to look through her stuff and see what she's talking about with that.
But this one goes even further. It's a case that shocked the Philippines, a brutal killing wrapped in rumors of cannibalism, drug use, and dark magic.
Okay, so they did also, I'm assuming, kill their mother.
It centers around a quiet rural home in Maguindanao and the three brothers who live there. This is the story of the Amil brothers, a family tragedy that spiraled into something far darker than anyone could explain.
So with that intro, I'm guessing that they thought they were cursed, and the only way they could get rid of the curse is killing their mother and eating her, question mark? Eating her corpse. Just pause to like make sure I knew what word I was going to use. Yeah, they committed matricide, I'm guessing, and then cannibalized her.
It happened in February 2014
Okay, so after the millennium.
in a small community called Parok Nabadtog, part of Barangay Kamasi in the town of Empatuan. For days, neighbors had heard disturbing sounds coming from one particular house. Shouts, scuffling, screams, but no one stepped in. In this part of the country, people tend to keep to themselves. Intervening in someone else's business, especially when it comes to family matters, was seen as crossing a line. Still, as time passed, something began to feel wrong. The screams suddenly stopped. The house went quiet. Concerned, the neighbors reported it to the authorities, asking for someone, anyone, to check inside. And when police arrived and entered the house, what they found left even seasoned officers shaken. The body of a middle-aged woman lay on the floor. Blood had drained from her body. Her eyes were missing.
So how long was this going on then? Because I feel like it's implied that they were torturing her, question mark, for a while until, her life gave in.
Ripped out, not with surgical precision, but with force. Scars and bruises surrounded her eye sockets, suggesting a struggle. Her throat had been slit open, her abdomen sliced, revealing that her internal organs had been removed. Then came the worst detail. It was later revealed that parts of her flesh had been eaten.
Are we saying like just off the body? Because assume that it has been eaten implies that they probably found teeth marks on the corpse. Thus, they literally just took bites out of her.
The victim was identified as Arkima Amil, known in the village as Musala, a 56-year-old mother of three, and the prime suspects, her own sons. 35-year-old Dante Amil, 21-year-old Paroy, and 18-year-old Ibrahim. So who are the Amil brothers, and how could something like this happen? The family lived in a wooden shack, worn down by the elements and almost hidden among the trees on the outskirts of the village. Life in Purok Nabatog was quiet, remote. There were no immediate neighbors, just bushland, wind, and silence. Their house stood apart, and so did their family. Not much is known about the brothers' upbringing. Their father was absent, and their mother, Musala, raised them alone. They ran a small farm to survive, like many in the area. The family was part of the Moro indigenous Muslim community, though locals began to quietly question whether the brothers still followed any teachings of the faith. There were rumors, unsettling ones. Some said that in the weeks before the murder, two of the brothers, Dante and Ibrahim, had been seen acting strangely.
What do you mean by acting strangely? Because they committed matricide and cannibalism. Like, how strange are we talking here? And what do they want? Like, let's say they're doing this for dark magic, quote unquote, purposes, and they wanted something out of it. Like, what is that something? Or is it two? Do they think they're cursed, or is there some sort of curse on them? And they figured this was the only way. 'Cause we were talking about the eyes being removed, so like from a previous video. Is that just a normal cultural thing that you need to remove eyes for curse-based things? Question mark. I'm not knowledgeable on that type of stuff specifically. Okay, I'm guessing we're just assuming just narcotics specifically, not any, juju or anything. They're saying the other taking some bad juju. Like, really? Like, these just random people are the chosen ones and had like an ancient ancestor that was half demon or something? And that they've been cursed ever since? So I feel like if you had like an ancient ancestor that was like half demon, aren't you like 0.0000001% demon at this point? Question mark. I mean, we're entertaining this story, right? But even still, like I feel like you're basically almost non-existent from being attached to that at this point, depending on how long ago it was. Hey, are they just making this up? I mean, clearly they're making it up, right? But why have they come to this conclusion of a story to tell? Like maybe she was just like harsh in disciplining them in their child years, and they're trying to make that as an excuse. Just like is the village just small enough to be like everybody in town just on day one to be like, hey, where are the brothers at? We haven't seen them. We haven't seen them yesterday either. And the day before that, where are they? I am just realizing that the video, our OBS crashed. How did they already crash? We just started. I don't know how long it crashed, so let's just go back to like here.
The region had ever witnessed. It was early 2014. For most people in Barangay Kamasi, it was a normal day.
Yeah, like I literally just started. Like how can it already be crashed?
They tended their fields, herded livestock, and prepared meals under the steady heat of the sun. But something was different at the Amil household. The brothers, usually seen around the village, were suddenly nowhere to be found. At first, no one thought much of it. Perhaps they had taken a few days off from work. But as the days passed and their absence stretched on, neighbors began to feel a quiet sense of unease. Inside the house, away from prying eyes, the three brothers had made a decision.
What I'm guessing to eliminate their mother and cannibalize her.
They believed their mother's condition was beyond healing, that she was no longer herself.
Was she just like old? She had like dementia or something? Like, is that all it was?
And so they acted. The brothers dragged Musala across the floor by her arms. She was frail, sick even, but she fought back. She kicked, scratched, twisted her body with what little strength she had. One of them tied her hands to a wooden post inside the house. Her body collapsed to the floor, bound and helpless. And then they began to hit her, not in rage, not in panic, but with a cold, unsettling calm. One after another, they punched and kicked her while mumbling a phrase over and over. Everything we're doing is to set you free.
Is this... Are they in jail? They've given their complete testimony on what happens? Question mark? Is that how we know what they were saying?
Some witnesses later claimed the violence lasted for days. It
Yeah, because we said earlier that they heard screaming for a while and then eventually just stopped. So I feel like they were essentially torturing her for days.
wasn't just physical abuse, it was torture. Neighbors heard the screams. At first, they sounded like arguments, family members fighting. Not unusual, but soon the sounds changed. They became cries of pain, screams of someone in agony. Still, no one stepped in. The house was remote, and many in the village preferred not to get involved in private matters. They informed the barangay captain, who brushed it off. Maybe someone just got hurt by accident. Let's wait and see. And then
Well, I mean, wait and see just means, okay, they're going to die.
silence.
You're choosing not to see if anything is wrong. Like, instead of, like, wasting, I don't know, what, 30 minutes of your time to see if everything's okay, you're like, we'll just wait and see if a body turns up. Who cares? That's just how that's how that feels.
The screaming stopped. The house went quiet again. This time, the neighbors knew something was wrong. They urged the barangay captain to call the police. When
What does that even mean? So he's not the cap. He's not the police. I figured that would be police, but I don't know what that phrase means in the barangay captain. Is that just like the chief, the town chief, mayor, etc. of the area? Like, what does that mean? What is this captain?
officers arrived, they called out. No answer. They forced the door open and found themselves face to face with one of the most horrifying scenes they have ever witnessed. A woman's body lay tied to a wooden post, blood soaked into the dirt floor beneath her. Her clothes were torn, enough to reveal the gaping wounds across her neck and chest. Her throat had been slit so deeply, as one investigator described it, her head was barely still attached. Her chest had been opened, her eyes were gone, the sockets hollow, and her stomach empty. No organs remained. Whoever had killed her had also removed her insides. Some of the officers and local officials who arrived at the scene became physically sick, not from what they saw, but from what was described aloud. Police dug deeper. They tracked down the family's long absent father. He claimed to know nothing, hadn't lived with them, hadn't seen the boys in years. He denied any involvement.
How long has he been gone? Like, since childhood? I mean, she said that earlier, but like, are we saying like real early, like actual kids, or like what?
News spread quickly, and so did the rumors. Some said the Amil family had always been cursed, that this was the work of a spirit, maybe even something demonic. Others said the brothers had become ghouls themselves. The three brothers were brought into custody. At first, they denied everything. They claimed to know nothing about the murder. They insisted they were innocent. But then one of them broke and confessed.
Okay, so that's how we got the confession. They did end up feeling guilty about this. Again, sorry about if the video was like muted for a while. I don't know how long that lasted because like I was not expecting OBS to crash within like 10 minutes. Like it's barely been open. Maybe I need to update it even further. Maybe it's on a version that likes to crash a lot. I don't know. Because it's kind of getting annoying at this point. How often it crashes and we lose audio.
When asked why, his voice shook and tears ran down his face. "We just wanted to cure our mother," he said. They insisted they hadn't wanted to hurt their mother, only to save her. She had been seriously ill for some time, but they had no money for medical care. Instead, they turned to belief, to folklore, to a shaman. Though no records were found of what the shaman had said or if he was even real, the brothers said they followed instructions, some kind of guidance that convinced them their mother was not simply sick, but possessed.
We could argue that might even be the opposite of that. They went to somebody who, if they believe in that stuff, set them up to, eliminate this woman so that they, like this shaman, could gain more power in how they see the world. Like they did this, they tricked them into doing evil for their own sake, for the shaman's sake.
And that possession, in their minds, could only be driven out through force. Still, no one in the community could have imagined it would end the way it did. The injuries told a clear story. Senior Inspector Ronald de Leon, leading the investigation, confirmed that Musala had been bound for a long time before her death. Bruises along her wrists and arms showed how tightly she had been tied down. Nearby, police found a machete. It was stained with blood. Investigators believed it was the weapon used to cut open her throat and chest. It had also likely been used to remove her internal organs.
Well, that's not going to be a very clean cut if she was like alive for that. I don't know.
Which led to the most disturbing question of all. What happened to the organs? Whispers became accusations. People wondered aloud. Had the brothers really eaten them?
Well, we don't know about that. Like, I don't know why they would do that. Maybe it's just ritualistic stuff to, like, I guess, get rid of the evil inside of her. But they said, Dark Megan said that they saw bite marks on the body. Well, I'm assuming bite marks. You can't just say, oh, evidence of flesh being eaten. The only thing that it can imply is that they saw, like, teeth marks on the body itself.
Eventually, police got the confirmation they didn't want. The answer was yes.
Okay, they did.
According to officials and later confirmed by the brothers themselves, after cutting open their mother's body, they consumed her internal organs.
How does that get rid of the evil? Wouldn't it transfer the evil to you? Like, what is the logic here?
They ate them directly from her body.
What do you mean? You just cut her open and ate it? Straight out? How how would you even do that without getting sick?
The Emil brothers were deeply rooted in superstition. That belief system, twisted, misunderstood, or manipulated, may have been the reason behind the act of cannibalism. Even with their confession, nothing about the killing made sense.
Yeah, like again, we're trying to apply logic to this, but it doesn't make any sort of logical sense. Again, I don't know how they just ate them raw like that. It's not raw. They should, depending on when it happened, they would still be warm, but still. It's just like a really crazy story. Again, like how does that help her? How does consuming the organs equate to getting rid of the evil spirit? Again, I feel like that just means you are taking the evil spirit into yourselves, and now you have just made three. You've turned one evil spirit into three. Not, or assuming you weren't already evil to begin with, right? Again, we're just entertaining this story here, but obviously they're just doing some sort of horrible crime, and we don't know why. If we take out the supernatural part of it out of it, it's like, why?
Their stated reason was to cure their mother. But how does torture become healing? How does dismemberment become salvation? The brothers claimed they didn't believe they were killing their mother, but rather the evil spirit had taken over her body. Still, that didn't explain why they cut open her chest, why they gouged out her eyes, why they ate her organs. When asked those specific questions, they offered no answers, just vague mentions of a ritual, no details, no location, no witness. No one could confirm whether the brothers truly believed in what they were saying, or whether it was a desperate attempt to avoid the consequences of what they had done.
Yeah, would that even avoid the consequences? It's like, oh yeah, this is why we did it. We're serious. This is why we did it. It's like, okay, doesn't matter. Go to jail / probably get death penalty. Who knows? Again, I feel like there also could be the angle where this quote unquote shaman, tricked them into doing this for their own purposes. Like the shaman wanted them to kill this woman to gain power or something, or just for sick reasons. I don't know.
There was something else that didn't quite fit. People who knew the Emil family never saw them as dangerous. In fact, the brothers were often described as close, protective of one another, and above all, devoted to their mother. There had never been any talk of violence in the household, no signs of abuse, no history of threats or trouble with neighbors. The brothers themselves always said the same thing. Their mother meant everything to them. And maybe that's the most unsettling part of all, because in their minds, what they did wasn't betrayal, it was sacrifice. They believed they were doing something for her, even if that meant killing her to cleanse her soul. In most murder cases, especially ones as disturbing as this, authorities bring in mental health professionals to evaluate the suspects.
Are we saying they did that or they did not do that? Because we said they did do it and they were seen to be sound of mind. Then it's like, okay, how do they do this without Wasp being sound of mind, right?
But in this case, there was little to no public record of any formal psychiatric assessment. Still, many began to speculate. Some believe the brothers had developed serious mental health conditions, perhaps schizophrenia or a form of psychosis triggered by deep-seated fear, suggestion, or cultural belief.
That's like, how does three people gain this kind of like crazy idea? I mean, you have mutual psychosis, right? But is that what we're trying to say happened here? They all just had one went over the edge, and that brought the other two over the edge, and then they just did this to their mom?
There are studies suggesting that mental illness can be shaped by both environment and genetics, and growing up in isolation, poverty, and other intense cultural pressure might have played a role. but nothing was officially confirmed. No documentation, no diagnosis, just questions. The case was later compared to the infamous Burari family deaths in India, where the entire family was found hanged in their home, suspected to be the result of a shared delusion or ritual gone wrong.
How does everybody end up dead? I mean, I guess they just force some of them to die, and then the ones that are left, they just keep making sure the next person's gone, and then the final person commits to the entire thing. But I don't think I've heard of this story. I wonder if Mango has done this one. I'm assuming she has done it. Like, Megan's done it, but I don't know if Mango's done it.
Some wondered if the Amil brothers were in the grip of something similar, a shared psychosis, possibly worsened by isolation, poverty, or drug use. In fact, prior to the murder, two of the brothers had reportedly been caught using illegal substances. Authorities suspected they may have been under the influence at the time of the killing.
Yeah, they did mention that they were taking something earlier that made them change, but we're really going to say that's all it was? Just a couple of them took some drugs, and the third one joined in on it, on the parade or whatever?
Another rumor surfaced that the brothers had ties to Ilaga, a violent Christian extremist paramilitary group known for its faux Catholic rituals involving amulets and sacrifices. But that claim also didn't make sense. The Amils were from a Muslim Moro background, and while their actions clearly departed from Islamic teachings, there was no confirmed connection to any extremist group. Still, the rumors led to a broader debate about how religion is portrayed in crimes, and whether this case was used, intentionally or not, to paint Muslims in a negative light. As of 2025, no major updates had been reported in the case.
I mean, no major updates. This was more than 10 years ago. This was 11 years ago. What happened to them?
A handful of articles remain online, most repeating the same disturbing details of Musala Amil's death and the rumors surrounding her sons. The last confirmed update dates back to 2014.
So same year, like we haven't had anything for 11 years.
When the brothers were sent to a detention center to await trial. So what happened after that remains unclear. There are no public records of a trial, no sentencing, and no further statements from the family.
Kind of crazy that a lot of these stories just don't have any sort of record to them. I guess just because of the places that they take place at, just end up not having anything be put onto record. So we just can never know what happened. It was kind of rough. Like, probably went to jail, might got a death penalty, but I guess we're just never going to know.
But what we know is that parricide is a capital offense, punishable by reclusion perpetua, which is equivalent to 40 years of imprisonment.
Okay.
So, given the severity of the crime and the fact that it involved a direct family member, the legal procedures would have followed standard protocol: arrest, formal charges, detention without bail, and trial proceedings, which has remained out of public view.
Okay, so they probably got 40 years. So if they're still alive, they're in jail right now.
This absence of updates isn't unusual in the Philippine justice system, particularly in remote provinces like Maguindanao. Limited press access, logistical challenges, and local instability all contribute to minimal media coverage once the initial shock of a case fades.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's just a lot of these cases take place in places like this where you just aren't going to get any of that information documented down.
In addition, cases involving mental health, especially those with claims of ritual or spiritual justification, tend to be sealed from public inquiry. What truly led to this tragedy may never be fully understood, whether it was shaped by belief, isolation, mental illness, or something else entirely. But at the center of it all was a woman, Musala Amil, a mother whose life ended in the most devastating way. So, cases like this remind us to look beyond headlines and rumors to consider the deeper forces that influence human behavior, and to remember that even in the darkest stories, real lives are affected. So, if you know more about this case or have thoughts to share, feel free to leave a comment. Your perspective might help others better understand what happened and why it shouldn't be forgotten. That is all for today. Thanks for watching.
I never end up looking at the comments of these videos, but maybe people actually do have stuff to say in the comments about what happened to some of these people that we have like no information on, because maybe they actually lived there. You never know. I just scrolled down the comments, kind of just seeing if I could find anything pertaining to this, and it's just like any person that said they're like from the Philippines was like, oh, like I saw one that's like, I'm from the Philippines and I've never heard of this story and things like that. So I don't think there's going to be any sort of follow up to what happened to them. We could just assume they got 40 years of jail time and just have to accept that. Someone said that they believe they did it because she was sick and thus would be was a hindrance to them at that point, and they didn't want to have to put up taking care of their sick mother, so they just, got rid of her. Though that doesn't fully explain why they went through such drastic um, measurements, drastic measures. I don't know why I couldn't remember how to say that. Drastic measures to, get rid of her. Like all the crazy stuff they did to her didn't make any sense, especially if people believed them to like actually truly love their mother. Yeah, like it doesn't make a lick of sense whatsoever. The story is just like really crazy. Again, sorry about the beginning when it was like muted. I don't know how long it was muted. Like it probably was a few minutes, but still, that's still kind of rough to have to deal with. Hopefully I did catch it quickly. But yeah, tomorrow we'll see what we'll end up doing. Maybe it'll be Chinaverse stuff again, or Stephanie Sue, or maybe we'll finally have our schedule in a place where we can just stream these rad videos instead. So maybe we'll just do it live. Who knows? Hey guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers, to think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Because we're working on watch time and subscribers, and if we have thrown out as well, and shout out to the members, EmmyStarr and RaleyDrew. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Another do. See ya.